An old man and a boy in high school uniforms are running through the woods during a battle. Suddenly, the old man is hit by a bullet from behind. He falls to the ground in pain, telling the boy named Yoshiharu about his dreams and plans. He tells the boy to live his dream for him, which revolves around building a castle, uniting the country, and having lots of women around him. Just as the man is about to give up the ghost, he tells Yoshi his name is Kinoshita. Suddenly, something clicks in Yoshi's brain and grabs the old man and tries to stop him from giving up because his death will mess up history worse than a time traveler stepping on a butterfly. Apparently, the old man is supposed to serve Nobunaga and unite Japan. The old man, now fully committed to his dramatic death scene, whispers that the head of the Nobunaga clan is Oda Nobunaga. And then he dies because apparently historical accuracy isn't a thing in this forest. Yoshi stands up, assuming that everything that is happening is a dream and that he will wake up in no time. After all, he is a big fan of the game Oda Nobunaga's Ambition and he must have fallen asleep while playing. Suddenly a white horse comes dashing out of the bush and the rider is a yellow-haired, scary-looking lady. The lady is facing off with an enemy soldier and just as they are about to have a standoff, our MC decides to intervene. He dashes in, scolding the soldier for trying to hurt a pretty chick. The soldier cannot but laugh at him because he is unarmed and he is about to have his life thrashed. He realizes that he messed up, but that moment Yoshi remembers that he has something that can help him. He brings out his cell phone to play a sound, imitating soldiers coming to back them up. This works brilliantly until it doesn't. He forgot to charge his phone, and it dies at the most important moment. The enemy soldier is now realizing Yoshi's magic is just a dead brick, prepared to turn him into a human pink Christian. At this point, he believes that they are done for, but thankfully one of the chick's generals comes charging in, chasing away the enemy soldiers. During this, Yoshi learns that the yellow-haired chick is the Oda leader, leaving him in shock. He's even more shocked when the girl introduces herself as Oda Nobunaga, not Nobunaga as he expected. Apparently, this is the Sengoku era where the firstborn becomes the leader of their clan irrespective of their gender. It turns out that all the characters that our MC knows from his game are all ladies instead of men. After the enemy has been chased out, they return to the castle, where Nobunaga tries to get an understanding of the device that our guy used during the battle. When it is time for introductions, Yoshi ends up getting kicked in the face for messing up Nobunaga's name. In return, she decides to call him Monkey instead of his real name. He tries telling the lady that he is from the future, but he gets kicked yet again. Since she doesn't believe in fairy tales, she doesn't believe that Yoshi is from the future. One of Nobunaga's executives, the tactician, then suggests that they use him as one of their retainers. In the enemy territory of Imagawa, the leader Imiga Yoshimoto scolds her servant for failing to eliminate Nobunaga. However, she learns that they almost had her but were saved by a guy named Monkey. Our boy is checking out a place to stay, when he is suddenly whisked away by a little girl named Goemon, who has come to serve him in place of her master, Kinoshita. Apparently, she is the dead old man's companion, and they share the same views and opinions. From that moment forward, Yoshi decides that he is going to live out the old man's dream. Meanwhile, there is another enemy growing and his name is Yoshitatsu. He plans to attack Nobunaga, but his father, who is the Lord of Mino, Saito Dosen, suggests they befriend Nobunaga instead. Not long after this, he sends a meeting invitation to Nobunaga. Before they learn about the location of the meeting, Yoshi decides to prove to the lady that he is from the future. He tells her exactly where the meeting will be happening, and just as he said it, it happens. When asked how he knows this, he simply replies that he has spent a lot of time playing the Ambition of Nobunaga and knows almost all of the events. Nobunaga and his girls assume that he is speaking in some barbarian language because they can't seem to understand whatever shit he just spewed. On their way to the meeting, Nobunaga is escorted by a large force, but unknown to her, Saito and his army are secretly lying in wait to eliminate her. Our MC knows this, and to prevent this, he tells Nobunaga to order her men to light their rifles in preparation for an attack. When Saito sees this from his hiding place, he calls off the attack, thus saving the chick's life. Moments later, the two leaders meet at the said temple. Everyone is shocked to see Nobunaga dressed in a beautiful outfit instead of her battle clothes. The meeting begins, and Saito is surprised it's not going the way he wants. Nobunaga bluntly tells him her intention to take over the Mino province, since whoever controls it has a higher chance of conquering the entire nation. She gives a speech so inspiring it could have been ripped straight out of Naruto, but Saito isn't convinced. Saito understands her dreams, but he is not willing to let go of his province. Because of this, he decides that he is going to go to war against Nobunaga. However, our nosy MC comes running into the building. He's given the chance to speak because Saito believes that it is going to be entertaining. However, Saito has his sword ready to cut off Yoshi's head if he says the wrong thing. Surprisingly, he tells Saito exactly what's going on in his head. Apparently, Saito knows that he can't defeat Nobunaga, and going to war with her will only lead to the destruction of his legacy and the death of his sons. Saito is shocked to hear this, and he stands there in awe as Yoshi urges him to hand over Mino to Nobunaga, because she is the only one who can continue his dream. Upon hearing this, the old soldier admits defeat because he didn't expect someone 450 years from the future to show up. Once everything is settled, Saito assures Nobunaga that he is going to prepare a treaty to hand over his province to her. In fact, he calls Nobunaga his new daughter. With this new development, the Oda province controlled by Nobunaga and the Mino province ruled by Nobunaga became allies. However, Sato's son, Yoshitatsu, isn't ready to accept this agreement. Yoshi is enjoying a depressing meal prepared by his help when one of Nobunaga's executives, Katsui, calls him to follow her. He follows her into town, where he learns that the people in the market can now trade freely without restrictions. At the market, they run into Nobunaga's little brother, Nobukatsu. Nobukatsu calls his sister a fool, and Yoshi, being the loyal and slightly impulsive guy he is, moves closer to the boy and calls him a bore for insulting his sister. Katsui tries telling our MC to watch his tongue before something goes horribly wrong. Apparently, Katsui's official duty is to be Nobukatsu's aide. The little brat then reveals that he can't let his sister have a worry because the province will be left in ruins. Hearing this, Yoshi asks him if he has any plans for the province if he becomes the leader. Nobukatsu then reveals his grand plan for the province if he becomes the leader, providing rice jellies for everyone. When Yoshi points out that his plan isn't feasible, Nobukatsu changes it up and declares that he'll destroy all their enemies and bring cute girls to the province. Yoshi's eyes light up for a moment. He considers that getting cute girls isn't such a bad idea, but he quickly shakes it off. He tells Nobukatsu he's not fit to rule, which only makes the kid angrier, and he starts to rant that his sister is a fool who is hated even by her own mother. The little brat is still ranting about how he is supposed to be the ruler when he is suddenly smacked to the head by Yoshi. He scolds him for calling his sister a fool, but hitting Nobukatsu was completely out of line. The spoiled brat then uses the opportunity to call for his head, and at that moment our favorite MC knows he's messed up. Nobunaga soon hears of this and the fact that Nobukatsu will start another rebellion if his wish is not granted. She is not ready to do what her brother wants, but Yoshi reminds her that a rebellion would be bad for the province. Before he can finish the nonsense he is spewing, he gets kicked in the face because apparently everything is his fault in the first place. Even Katsui doesn't want a scenario where she has to fight Nobunaga. She unsheathes her weapon and is about to use it, but Nobunaga stops her. In an attempt to save Yoshi's life, they would have to elevate his status. Getting hit by a regular foot soldier is totally unacceptable, but by a general it is totally different. Nobunaga plans to promote him to a general at a moment's notice, but before she does this, she wants him to earn the title first. She gives him a small amount of money and orders him to bring a large quantity of rice with it. The task is difficult, but Nobunaga doesn't care because if he can't do it, he doesn't deserve to be called a general. Surprisingly, Yoshi agrees to the task and he is also expected to finish up in 1 week. Since he has a method that he normally uses to double his money, he doesn't think it is going to be a big problem for him. He tells his assistants about his plan to buy goods where they're cheap and sell them all where they cost more. He's going to do this over and over again until he has the required money he needs to buy the quantity of rice he wants. Meanwhile, Nobukatsu's retainers are already gearing him up for a battle. They are confident that Yoshi will fail, and Nobukatsu can use this as a perfect chance to rebel against his sister. When Nobunaga hears of her brother's plan to wage war, she lets it be known that she is not going to forgive him again. She plans to unalive him this time and let it be settled. It is going to be a big slap to her if she can't unite her own house, less of uniting Japan. 7 days later, Yoshi already has a room full of money, but his stupid ass forgets the main reason why he was acquiring the money. It's a whole load of money, but not a single grain of rice, and to make things worse, the challenge is due to end that evening. He then employs his assistants, Inochio and Goemon, to help buy the rice while he talks to Nobunaga. While they are waiting, she decides to test his knowledge about the globe. She has a world map in her room, and to test him, she urges him to show her where Japan is located on the map. He does this without any issue, and in addition he shows her that the so-called barbarians are from Europe. She already knows this, but she is glad that someone finally shares the same views as her. Yoshi calls her a genius, and when she hears this, she reveals that there is someone just like our MC whom she cares for deeply. Apparently, this figure was the one who told Nobunaga about the world, and the person is most likely a barbarian. Before they know it, it is sunset, and Nobunaga, being true to her word, unleashes her sword in preparation to take Yoshi's head. He doesn't object to this because Nobukatsu will rebel if he is denied what he wants. Just as she is about to relieve him of his head, Inochio and Goemon come flying in. They stop Nobuna from carrying out the execution, telling her that the rice is being brought in. Apparently they were interrupted during the process of acquiring the rice. The Countess steps outside to check out the rice, and she is shocked to see that Yoshi was able to acquire 4 times the quantity of rice that she initially demanded. Since he is successful at his task, RMC can now keep his head. However, reports come in that Nobukatsu has already gathered his army and has started a rebellion. He and his retainers have barricaded themselves in his castle, and this includes Katsui. Nobuna is mad when she hears this, and she wastes no time preparing for battle. Yoshi tries to talk her out of it, but doesn't work. He knows that Nobuna will eventually kill her brother if he fails to do something about it. Since all Nobukatsu has to do is surrender, Yoshi devises a plan. The next morning, 1,000 plus soldiers surround the castle where Nobukatsu is hiding. Instead of attacking, RMC urges them to start shouting and praising Nobuna's name. This echoes so loudly that it starts affecting those in the castle. In no time, this breaks the spirits of the men inside the castle, and they all start chanting Nobuna's name together. Nobukatsu cannot take the chance any longer. He ends up caving in. Once the siege is over, Nobuna prepares to behead her brother. Her eyes turn dark as she's about to kill her little brother out of honor. However, Yoshi won't let this happen because he knows that if Nobuna kills her brother, it will break her. He blocks Nobuna and manages to convince her about her decision. Deep down, she doesn't want to kill her brother, and after a deep emotional talk from our main character, she backs down and forgives her baby brother. In return, Nobukatsu pledged his allegiance and even changed his name to Suda Nobusumi in order to crush any rebellious ideas in the future. With this, the Owari clan becomes united under Nobuna. Under the nightlight, Yoshi ends up swearing loyalty to Nobuna, promising her that he will always be there by her side. Not long after this, Yoshitatsu incites a rebellion to kill his father. He manages to convince the main houses in Mino to turn their backs on his father to prevent him from handing over Mino to Nobuna. Nobuna soon learns of this and the fact that Sato's army is greatly outnumbered. However, Sato doesn't seem concerned by this because he plans to die on the battlefield. Yoshi doesn't want this to happen since he expects Sato to be alive to witness Nobuna carry out her acts. Even though Nobuna is clearly in pain, she decides that no reinforcements will be sent to help Sato. She obviously knows that the old man will only lecture her and not accept the help. She runs out of the meeting with eyes filled with tears, reminding Yoshi of the same situation with her brother. Meanwhile, an annoying dude is making his way into Owari with plans to seduce Nobuna into marrying him. Yoshi visits Nobuna in her chambers to console her. With the way things are going, there's a high chance Saito will die in battle. To take her mind off things, Nobuna decides to tell Yoshi a story about the world globe. It was given to her by a barbarian missionary she cared about, the one who taught her about the world and inspired her dream of traveling it. Sadly, the missionary is dead and Nobuna believes everyone she loves ends up joining the afterlife sooner rather than later. First it was her father, now Saito is also going to die. At this point, she believes that she is cursed not to love anyone. Not long after this, they welcome the annoying dude whose name is Asai Nagamasa and he is from the Asai clan. His clan rules the Omi province, which is quite important. He is considered to be important because before reaching the capital, one needs to go through him. After getting the pleasantries out of the way, Nobuna asks the guy what he wants. In a prideful statement, he tells the lady that he has come to remove the cause of her suffering. And talking about this suffering, he means Saito. He lets Nobuna know that he can provide help. If they can both attack simultaneously from the north and south, they get a chance to save Saito. According to him, there is no doubt that an alliance between Owari, Omi, and Mino will be an unstoppable force. The offer is too good to be true, and Nobuna, not being a fool, knows the guy obviously wants something in return. She asks him what he wants and he simply tells Nobuna that he would like to make her his wife. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Saito and his army are greatly outnumbered and it is now obvious that he is going to die. However, he sends a message to his new daughter just in case he later dies. Back at the castle, Nobuna is shocked to hear the marriage proposal. In the background, our MC is having a hard time because he knows he is no match for Asai. Nobuna is shocked but also flattered by this. She then asks Asai if he is in love with her, but he bluntly replies that he is not. He lets the Countess know that all he is proposing is a political marriage with no grain of love involved. The moment she hears this, she bursts out in anger, telling the young man that she has no interest in a marriage that is not solidified by love. She has always had the dream of choosing someone she loves, and she is not ready to change that now. When asked who she loves, her facial expression clearly points to Yoshi. Asai gets a hold of this, but Nobuna tries to be sleek and hide the obvious fact. A love argument starts between Yoshi and Nobuna because she expects him to fight for her, but our boy also expects her to just reject the invitation if she is not interested. Asai stands up to leave, and he reminds the Countess that Saito will die without his help. In addition, the Nobuna clan will definitely fall if it makes an enemy of the Asai clan. At this point, it is clear that she is being blackmailed. Nobuna's retainers to sit down to talk about their predicament. It is clear that they cannot send reinforcements to help Saito because Imagawa's soldiers are at their border. Any slight puncture in their defense and Imagawa will use the opportunity to invade them. Out of desperation, Yoshi stands up to talk to Asai. He tries to convince him about his choice. He even urges him to at least tell Nobuna that he loves her. But being the monster that he is, Asai refuses. Out of anger, our MC almost hits him, but he has stopped just in time. He is reminded that doing that will only lead to war with the Asai clan. Asai adds salt to Yoshi's wounds by telling him that a relationship between him and Nobuna will never work because he's a lowlife, while Nobuna is basically royalty. Later, Asai meets with Nobuna again to hear her decision. Before she can respond, Yoshi and the retainers burst in. They declare that they won't let him turn their leader into a tool for his political dominance. Asai is disappointed by this, and he angrily leaves, letting the group know that they might end up regretting their decision. Just then, a messenger from Saito arrives, carrying a message from Saito. In the letter, he tells Nobuna about how he is proud to have her carry his lifelong dream. Since he is about to die, he prays for Nobuna's dreams to come true. Nobuna reads the letter with tears, and just as she is about to muster her forces for reinforcements, she is knocked out by Katsui. Katsui justifies her actions by letting Yoshi know that it would be foolish of them to send reinforcements. Yoshi is not ready to accept defeat. He plans to save Saito by himself, and he wastes no time putting together a force that he trusts, and they move out to rescue the Viper of Mino, Saito. Soon afterward, he arrives on the battlefield. However, the Viper is mad at him for coming. Saito tries to open Yoshi's eyes to the fact that he is more important than he is. Saito might share the same views as Nobuna, but Yoshi will be the one to help her achieve them. Our guy understands where the old man is coming from, but he lets him know that he is not returning to Owari without him. When Nobuna finally wakes up, she is shocked to hear that Yoshi has set out to rescue Saito. At that moment, Yoshi, Saito, and the rescue force are overwhelmed by Yoshitatsu's forces. Thankfully, they manage to get into Owari territory, but Saito-san will not give up. He plans to chase them until the very end. Fortunately, Nobuna and her forces appear on the scene to push back the enemy forces. Yoshi and the old man are rescued, but when Nobuna gets off her horse, she slaps Yoshi for causing her to worry. At the same time, reports come in that Imagawa forces have invaded the land since it is defenseless. The Imagawa army invading Owari numbers up to 25,000, and they are led by a person named Motoyasu. Because of how overwhelming the enemy forces are, Nobuna plans to give up. Yoshi doesn't want this to happen, and he assures her that she's going to win. In a twist of things, she looks at our guy and lets him know that he is fired. Because of his selfish act of rescuing Saito without telling her, Nobuna doesn't want to hear anything else from him. Even when told that Yoshi is from the future and can possess knowledge of how they can win, Nobuna doesn't care. In fact, she now believes that our MC's knowledge is flawed because he would be dead meat if she hadn't shown up to rescue his ass. She even believes that his words of helping her dreams come true are mere words and nothing more. Nobuna returns to the castle to barricade herself in her room, and Yoshi also starts thinking about everything that she said to him. Just as he's about to spiral into self-doubt, Saito shows up. The old man asks Yoshi if they can truly defeat Imagawa based on his future knowledge, and Yoshi says yes. However, Saito points out a glaring flaw. In the future, where Nobuna defeated Imagawa, Saito was dead. So technically, his knowledge is already outdated. Yoshi groans because now even history is gaslighting him. The old man knows Nobuna has realized this fact, which is why she fired Yoshi so she wouldn't have to take him into battle. She doesn't want to lose more loved ones after all. Being the stubborn person that he is, our MC is determined to save Nobuna even if history doesn't align with what he knows. Just as he prepares to embark on his plan, he is surprised to find out that his loyal forces have gathered to help him out. They are all prepared to follow Yoshi, even if it means entering hell. In no time, the group sets out and he lets them know that they're heading to Okihazama. With his knowledge of the game, Yoshimoto would be camping at Okihazama. However, he is shocked when he learns that Okihazama is a mountain. It seems the game is different from reality after all. He's thinking about his impending failure when Nobukatsu, now known as Nobusumi, shows up to help. Yoshi plans to launch a sneak attack into Okihazama, but now that it has turned out to be a mountain, he is not so sure. He heaves a sigh of relief when he learns from one of the retainers that there's a flat path to the mountain. Not long after this, they are able to reach the said location. He tells Nobusumi to distract Yoshimoto with his wits and cunning moves while he prepares a sneak attack on the camp. Just moments later, Yoshi, Inochio and Goemon are ambushed by Amagawa ninjas led by a guy named Hanzo. Yoshi is urged to leave them and return to the castle. All of their efforts depend on Nobuna making it to the plan and taking down Yoshimoto. Presently, he runs off, but he is followed by the ninja leader. He is chased through the woods as he dodges multiple shurikens aimed at him. His luck runs out when one of the blades hits him. He falls to the ground, thinking about death, but his desire to help Nobuna pushes him to stand up. Face to face with Hanzo, Yoshi is left with only his words. He reminds Hanzo that Yoshimoto will cut Motoyasu off if Amagawa wins, and Hanzo doesn't want this because he is loyal to Motoyasu. RMC then assures the ninja guy that he can help break an alliance between Motoyasu and Nobuna. He is able to convince the ninja guy to let him live. Hanzo expects Yoshi to fulfill his words or else he will find him and kill him. Wounded, RMC continues his walk to the castle. Meanwhile, Nobuna's retainers are bickering amongst themselves. Our boy finally makes it to Nobuna's room to tell her where Yoshimoto's camp is located. He assures her that the forces in the camp are cut off from the main forces and that she can easily take the camp. Nobuna's eyes lit up with hope when she heard this. Without wasting time, she gathers her main forces and they march toward Okiyazama. Hanzo stands on a hilltop and has the power to stop this, but Yoshi has successfully won him over and all he can do now is watch and wait. To solidify their alliance with the higher powers, it starts to rain. In no time, Nobuna and her forces arrive at the enemy's camp. The loud sound of thunder shakes the enemy's camp, and even Yoshimoto gets scared, as if she knows that something gory is coming for her. The moment Yoshimoto realizes that she's under attack, the majority of her forces have all gotten drunk from Nobusumi's wine. This opens the way for Nobuna and her army to easily cut through and reach the camp. All that is left is for watching. Want more anime recaps? Subscribe the channels and turn on notification bell.